Hey there peeps, and welcome back to my channel. I was like sitting here thinking, how am I going to start this video? How am I going to even, discuss the topic of work and how much work is enough work and when are we overdoing it and how much money is enough money, because it's so subjective that when you talk about it, you're basically giving one perspective on a topic that everyone has a different opinion on. But I wanted to touch for a minute on how much should we really be working and what should we expect as a living wage, as well as what kind of lifestyle should we expect. We live in a time right now where the average person eats better than kings of the past. It's just a fact. The things that we can eat, the access we have to anything we want, prepackaged, frozen, or fresh, is rivals, it's rival to everyone. Everyone in the past. Like, no matter, even the richest kings in the past, still, pineapple at one time was considered a hot commodity, by royalty. They would pay a ridiculous amount to have pineapples brought to them because it took so long for it to get there, they'd go bad. So, at any rate, we're in a different time now, and we have access to pretty much everything. So, when a person says, I'm not making enough to live, often this person will be spending money on other shit. And I know this because we all do it. I've seen it in myself, my family, my friends, everyone. That they'll say, well, I can't, for example, I can't eat healthy because it's too expensive. Health food is too expensive. I was like, well, that's true. But so is weed, so is beer, so is gasoline to go on trips. But people will say, well, but I need that. It keeps me sane. And I get it. I totally agree. Here I am, sitting here with my bong, and I just got home from work, and I've got my margarita, and and my vape, and I'm making a YouTube video, which is an addiction to dopamine, or attention, if you will. My YouTube videos I don't make money off of, so therefore it's more like, why am I making this? But at any rate, um, looks like I gotta plug my phone in. It's dying. Cord. So, what I wanted to talk about today was, what is a proper living wage? I take the European approach. Somebody asked me earlier today, they said, how's the tiny house thing going? Because I did upload a video on my other channel. I think I did it on Carpocraft, but I might have done it on my main channel. But it was first 3 days building tiny houses, and it was like an edited video of me putting on roofing and doing some other stuff. Since then, I've worked there for about 3.5 weeks, and we've pretty much finished the whole thing. It's a 21 foot by 13 foot high by like 9 foot wide tiny home. It's a big one on a huge trailer. We have another one that's already framed and ready for siding and interior in a different warehouse right across the parking lot. And that one is a 28 footer, or yeah, excuse me, I got the hiccups. A 28 footer. And so when I took this job, and I have a point here, I took this job. I'd been looking on Craigslist on and off for 6 months or so for a job. And if you don't know me, you won't know my story, but just as a quick synopsis, I was a carpenter for 10, 15 years on and off. I'd done other jobs in between. Then my back gave out about 7 years ago. Like, it was bad. My sciatica was so bad, I was like a baby. I couldn't even stand up. It's going to rain on me now. And I got to a job where I was working for a guy making really good money. I had worked for myself. I had my own company. I was doing finished carpentry. I've got all my tools. And then my back got fucked up, and I said, I just can't do this anymore. That was around the time where I just took like a year and a half off and basically did nothing. I fucked off, but fucked off in the way that I basically had absolutely no motivation. And then finally, one day, I was like, I'm going to start a kratom company. I've got to do something. So I started selling kratom, and that did well. But I didn't want to be just a vendor. I still have my regular customers who send me checks, and I send them kratom, but it's not my main focus because I want to do something that I feel good about. So it's not just a matter of how many hours you work. It's a matter of what do you do and do you enjoy it. You know, there's a saying that we had, work smarter, not harder. You probably heard it. It's about, well, just work a few hours and do it smarter and make the money and go home. There's something within us that does not let us do this. It does not let us just chill all the time. We want to work. We want to physically work. So I went looking for a tiny home job, building specifically tiny homes. I went on Craigslist one day, and it was the second job, and they post jobs all the time on there. Hey, Lucy. Hi, girl. Hi. Um, it was the second job, tiny home builder, looking for a carpenter. And I answered the ad. He had a few people he'd talked to, met up with them, and it was a perfect fit. I mean, everybody is long hairs, alternative kind of. I'm not going to talk too much about, people's habits or personal behaviors because who knows who's watching in the long run. Maybe somebody will see this and be like, hey, now I know more about, I'm not going into that, but I've met some cool people. And I think we have a really good crew of carpenters. And we are building tiny homes to a very, very high-end specification. So these things are like, really well built. And all the interior is done like high-end carpentry, And it's like my dream job. And so here's the thing. When I started the job, I only got paid $25 an hour. When the job came, the ad said 25 to 30 an hour. And that might sound like a lot to some people, but I'm a carpenter that's earned my stripes. I should get paid at least 30 to 35 in my opinion. But I took this job at 25 because it said 25 to 30 and they asked me, well, what do you want to get paid? And I said, it said 25 to 30 and I'm a good carpenter, so I'd love to have 30. He said, we'll start at 25 and see how you do. And I said, all right. Start me at 25 and within 2 weeks I'll show you I'm worth 30. And then just today, before I left, my boss met up with 2 clients at lunch, and they put a down payment on another tiny home. Like this will be the 5th one, and maybe 6th. And it was like 30 grand down payment. So he said, "I'm giving you both raises, $350." I was hoping for $5, but so I'm making $28.50 an hour right now, and I'm going in, hanging out with cool people, working my ass off, but enjoying what I do, putting in my all, and being part of a team. And that's really what people want. It's not about where you work. It's not about, it is, but it's not about how much money you make. It's about who you work with and the job you do and the effort you put in. And, goddamn, if you have the right crew, you can do so much. So, to get back on topic here, European hours are like 30 hours a week, work week. In America, it's like 40. But some people brag about working 60 hours. And you'll find that there's always the person who will say, oh, I worked 50, 60 hours last week. They always want to brag about that. Not in a bad way. I just mean people want to tell you that because they've worked hard and they're trying to make ends meet. Here's the thing, and where it becomes a problem. You might work overtime, you might make extra money, but it's very hard to get ahead working for someone else. You can save a little cash, but I hate to say it, but a lot of it's just spent in RV gas money, things like that. It's like the time spent with your family is, even if you're all in the same house but not doing the same thing, there's something important about that connection. And so for me, I've been very lucky in the last 5 years I've been able to stay home with my kids, take them to, pick them up from school, take them to school, that kind of stuff, and be there for them whenever they need it. But now we decided it was time to make a change. I want to work away from the home again for a while. And so I've been kind of feeling out this idea of what is a normal work week. When I saw a job where it was building tiny homes, but also it said 20 to 30 hours a week, and you can show up between 9 and 10 and kind of leave when you need to, I was all over it. That was my kind of job. So I'm going to stick with it and just see how it turns out. And hopefully it will do well. Hopefully my boss does well, and then we can all do well. And then everybody's happy. And that's what it's all about. So, at any rate, that's all I got to talk about. I'm just curious to know your opinions on what exactly you think a normal work week is, and how much you think the hustle culture, is valuable or not. And I'll talk to you next time. Be well. Peace out.